Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are officially in the month of May and it feels crazy to think that the year has been going by so fast. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about some plants that I have been loving for the whole month of April. I have recently downsized quite a bit in my personal collection, and that's really because I'm just a bit busy at the moment. If you're new here, I do run a online plant store from home, and I pretty much do that full-time in addition to my regular full-time job. Sometimes my personal collection of plants do not get that much love as they need, so it is easier for me to have less plants in my personal collection that I have to worry about because I'm always so focused on my shop. I don't always have that many plants to show off to you guys, but I did pick out 4 plants in particular that I really love and want to share with you guys. You guys probably already expected this plant to be in here, but I'm so excited about it. I just have to share it. This is an Alocasia variegated. This leaf and this leaf are obviously on their way out. Earlier this week, they were doing great, but of course today when I filmed the video, they are dying. Long story short, this plant, I ordered 2 of them for the shop, and what I was going to do was sell one and keep one to grow it so that I could always have corms of it and sell more alocasia products in the future. So that plan didn't really work out that great because the other variegated that I got did not really make it because the variegation was just not stable. It was completely solid white on like every leaf, and I transferred it to pon and it pretty much died. I'm rehabbing that one, so fingers crossed that that one comes back. So since I couldn't sell one, I was like, okay, let me just keep this one because it had pretty good genetics. And I am not an alocasia person. They are really hard for me, and honestly I'm just really proud that I've made it this far with this plant. I've had it for about a month and a half now, maybe, or maybe even 2 months. I'm just really happy that I've been able to keep it alive. So these 2 leaves that are on their way out, they are the oldest leaves, so I'm not too upset that they are on the way out. Obviously that happens with a plant, the older leaves go. I am always so jealous of people that have the really big and grand alocasias because I really can never grow them past like 3 leaves at a time. This one had 4 going, and I should have recorded this video literally like 2 days ago so I could show you guys, but it's alright. So we are down to 2 leaves. So this is the 1 leaf here. I am obsessed with the variegation. It's so beautiful. And here is the other one. Like I said, the other one was growing in pon and it didn't make it, but this one is actually growing in my soil-free potting mix. I have it in this little tiny cup here, and you can see it's doing really well. I don't have any drainage in this, and I kind of just keep it moist, but not too moist because obviously I don't want it to rot, but it's been doing really good in this, so I'm just going to keep growing it like this. I think that I'm going to grow this plant out maybe for like another month or 2 before I upsize it and give it like a 4-inch pot and then keep going like that. But overall, I'm really happy with this plant. I've kind of fallen in love with it, and it's really making me want to get into alocasias, but it's just so hard sometimes with alocasias. I just can't keep them alive, and I really can't justify spending so much money on the variegated alocasias if I'm not good at taking care of them. I am really proud of myself growing this little guy. This leaf is really big, so I'm hoping the next one sizes up as well. Hopefully I can get at least 3 or 4 leaves at a time. I really don't want to kill this plant because I love it so much now, so I've been really keeping a close eye on it, but I will definitely keep you guys updated with this guy, and hopefully as it matures we can get some more variegated corms, and then we can sell like the little baby plants. The next plant I'm really excited to share with you guys is my Hoya, this one here. I've had this one for a few months now. This was actually a 1-leaf cutting, and I rooted it a little bit in water and then I moved it to pon, which is in now, and it's grown so much. So now it has 4 leaves, and I really love the Sarawak because the leaves are just really pretty. I like big leaf Hoyas. Hoyas in general are really easy to grow, I'm finding, and I have all of my Hoyas in pon and they really do love it. So I would highly recommend moving your Hoyas to pon or leca or something semi-hydro. I feel like they do much better in semi-hydro than they do like potting mix, but that's just my personal experience. So I definitely do enjoy keeping my Hoya small, but because I do really love this one, I'm thinking that I'm going to give it a repot because it obviously needs one, but I do think I'm going to try to trellis this plant. I don't trellis my Hoyas at all. Once they start putting out runners and they get too long, I definitely just cut them down. I just really love a cute little Hoya like this. And I think it would be nice to have a big bushy Hoya Sarawak. I've seen a lot of pictures of people's Sarawaks on Instagram, and I'm really obsessed with how big the leaves get. I think it's good to probably try to grow this one out. It will be my first time really growing out a Hoya. I'm really excited to do that, but like I said, it needs a repot. It's in this little tiny like 2-inch pot. So I'm definitely going to give it a repot soon. and try to find like a cute little trellis to get this started on. The issue that I'm always having with trellises is that they're just too big and they don't fit in like the 4-inch or smaller pots. I know a lot of people DIY trellises, so maybe I'll just try that so that I can make it like a custom size. But if you do know any small businesses that make Hoya trellises, please feel free to share them, because I would rather support a small business than like Amazon. So yeah, this is my little Hoya Sarawak and I'm really loving it. So hopefully we can grow this one nice and bushy. The next plant I'm really excited to share with you guys because it's putting out a new leaf and I really wanted to capture the color. This is an Anthurium Bessier Af crossed with a crystallina. I recently repotted this plant into a bigger pot. If you do want to check out that video, it is up here in the card, so you can go and check that out and come back. For a while, it just wasn't growing, and it was definitely due to it needing a repot. So the moment I had repot the plant into a bigger pot, it started growing again and it put out this beautiful leaf here. So I am kind of kicking myself that I didn't do this video like 2 days ago, because when this plant produces a new leaf, it literally will come in bright red and it's so beautiful. Right now it is starting to harden, so it's losing the red color and it's starting to turn green. But this plant does come in like a really bright red, and that's kind of what made me purchase this plant. This is an Ecuagenera plant. I got it from a pop-up a few months ago. When I saw this plant sitting on the shelf at the event, it did have a brand new leaf coming in and it was in red, and that's what caught my attention. I'm 100% sure that if that plant was sitting there and it didn't have a new leaf coming in, I would have probably just skipped over it and just never thought about it. But because it had that red leaf, it caught my attention and I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to have this plant. That's something I find really cool about Anthuriums, is that sometimes their leaves do come in different colors and the red is just so gorgeous. It really stands out. I do keep this plant on the top shelf in here in the big greenhouse. It really does stand out amongst all the other green plants because the leaf gets so red. I've never owned a true Bessier Af, but you can definitely see the characteristics of the Bessier in this plant, and you can see the crystallinum. It does have a slight shimmer to it that you can't really see on camera, so that is another thing that really made me love this plant. This has been a pretty easy Anthurium for the most part. I do find that most hybrid Anthuriums are way easier than the true forms. I'm really into the Anthurium hybrids as well, and I really hope to get more of them in the future as I keep growing my Anthurium collection. I really do love Anthuriums, but I feel like there is still a lot to learn for me, and I'm excited to learn about them, and I know a lot of you guys are Anthurium lovers, so I feel like you guys would really appreciate this plant. It doesn't really have too much damage on it. None of the leaves really have been getting stuck, and it looks pretty good like overall. And I'm also very happy that the leaves are pretty much all facing the same direction, except for this one back here, but this is an older one, so it is on its way out anyway. Plant looks beautiful on the shelf, and I'm really happy with the new leaf it's putting out. So the next plant I want to show you guys is my big paraiso verde. It is this one here. I've shown this plant a few times, but this is how it's currently looking. As you can see, it's definitely grown a lot and it is just absolutely beautiful. I love this plant so much. I don't think that I'll ever get rid of it. So a few things about this plant is it's on a moss pole. Obviously it needs an extension. I'm probably going to do that after this video. It is on a leca pole, but it's mostly just for support. I don't really wet down the leca for this plant in particular because it's actually living in my living room outside of a cabinet. So I have a small section of plants where I keep my really big Monstera deliciosa under a Soltec hanging light, and I have a little tiny table next to it with like a few other random plants, and I decided to take this plant out of one of my Ikea cabinets and put it on that little table instead because it's growing really big that it's not fitting in there, and I don't really want to make space for it. This is a plant that I know does great outside of the cabinet, so I really wasn't worried about moving it. I think I moved it maybe late March. It's been living outside of the cabinet for the whole month of April and it's been doing great. You can see that it's kept the variegation as well. I feel like I'm going to get questions about this plant, so let me just address it right now. If your paraiso verde is putting out leaves like this and not leaves like this, it's because this plant requires a lot of light and it also requires a lot of heat. This leaf down here is one of the oldest ones, which it is probably going to go really soon. And I was worried that when I moved it out of the cabinet, it was going to produce these leaves, but it hasn't since. The variegation has kept up and it's absolutely gorgeous. If you are struggling with the variegation, even though this is not living in the cabinet, I do keep the apartment quite warm, especially in the winter time. Even right now, it's spring. The weather is a bit chilly, so we still do actually have our heat on. Regardless, we don't really like our apartment cold anyway, so the plants do just fine in regular room temperature and regular room humidity anyway. This plant has been cut a few times and the stem is starting to get leggy. Once this older leaf goes, it's going to get leggy again, so it might get cut again. This plant does live in a pon and leca mix. You can see the roots here. It really just thrives in this, and I can't really see myself growing it in anything else besides pon and leca. This one in particular, I do think it is about a year old, which makes it one of my oldest plants, I guess. I don't really keep plants for too long, but this one was an import at some point. It was from, I think, Green Spaces or Aroid Asia. I can't remember which one, but I definitely got it last year, I think last March, and it's grown quite a bit because it was super tiny. It had root rot when I got it. It was a whole thing, but it does feel really good to know that I still have this plant and it's growing beautiful. It's nice and healthy. But yeah, this is my Paraiso verde. I hope you guys love it. Let me know in the comments some of your favorites for the month of April as well. I'd love to know what's growing in your collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!